I like removing all of the old strings at once because this way I can clean the body under the strings, clean on all the fretboard and polish the frets even if I want to. Loosen the old strings. I always cut them to avoid the upper part scratching the body when pulling the strings out from under the Bigsby.
The eyelet, face it towards you, and then take your needle nose, hold it, and roll it towards you. All right, a bend in the string like that. You're going to be tempted to thread the string underneath this bar right here, but don't do that. Do the opposite. Thread the ball end or the eyelet underneath the bar and then around the back of the Bigsby tremolo tailpiece here. Straighten out your string. Hold your string, bring it under and onto the pin, and then pull your string tight and hold tension on it, okay? Hold tension on it, put it into the nut slot.
Use a capo to lock the string at the fretboard. Pull it tight and cut it behind the next tuning peg on guitars with 3 left, 3 right machine heads, and at the second to next tuning peg on guitars with 6 tuners in a row. Talking of which, you will wind the strings as usual. Feed it through the tuning peg and wind it. As always, make sure that the strings are wound from the inside to the outside.
And since this is the 6th string, we're going to measure to the 5th string peg of the tuning peg and cut right behind it, like that. See? Thread a little bit through, give it a little bend, and start slowly winding. One on top, and the rest on the bottom. After you've gotten it tight and slack a little bit, you can go down here now and you can align your string, because your string might do this. So we'll just move this over, line it up, and great.
Action is the height of the strings over the fingerboard, or more specifically, the distance from the top of the fret to the bottom of the strings. We're going to have various points that we measure at the 1st fret and the 12th fret, and then we'll discuss the criteria that we'll be looking for at both locations. So when we start taking our measurements, we're using our ruler, again, graduated in 64ths. At Gibson, we'll use the 1st fret and the 12th frets for reference. At the 1st fret, the spec is 1/64 from the top of the fret to the bottom of the high E string, and it's 2/64 from the top of the fret to the bottom of the low E string. At the 12th fret, the specs are 3/64 from the top of the fret to the bottom of the high E string, and 5/64 from the top of the fret to the bottom of the low E string. You can take a business card and notch it out so you can use it as a guide under your bridge, like so. And then on the other side, to protect the top when you're adjusting it. You can use the thumb wheels by hand. You know, if you're lowering it, it's very accommodating. However, sometimes it can get a little bit sticky if you have full tension on. If so, I recommend needle nose pliers, preferably with a serrated inner jaw. That way it'll grip that thumb wheel and not slip. So hold that shield in place, and then you can rotate that thumb wheel and give it about 1/4 to 1/2 a turn. And then verify the action again at the 12th fret. We know we want to drop it a 1/64 of an inch, so we'll give it 2/4 turns. And that looks good now. Now we'll go ahead and retune it to pitch just to make sure that the tension didn't change, which could possibly upset that action adjustment. We're still at 5 on the low E side. And we're still at 3 on the high E side. So we're good. Now we're to spec.
So in order to get this dialed in, I do want to do a check first on the neck radius. And what the radius is the curvature of the fingerboard. So this is a Les Paul, so I'm going to guess that it's a 12. So I'm going to use my undersaddle gauge and just kind of read in there, and it's a 12-inch radius. So I've got my undersaddle gauge. I'm going to go here and just make sure that that actually is a 12. So I press it up and I make sure that every string is hitting the underside, or excuse me, the top side of that gauge, and it is. So I might have to make adjustments down there, like say it was like E, A, D, G, B, E. If the G was like sitting up too high, like something that looked like that, then there'd be a little space under there. So I would want to use a nut file to take that saddle slot down so it matches the radius of all the other strings. Also, you don't want to have a string underneath, so it's like E, A, D, G, B, E, because it'll be out of your picking, like the reach of the pick. So a guitar that's set up properly is going to have a nice consistent radius on the bridge as well. Tune-o-matic bridges are very easy to adjust because you only have to make 2 adjustments at your thumb wheels. So in order to measure this, what I'm going to do is I'll put a capo on the 1st fret. So there goes the capo. That takes the nut out of the equation. And so I can get an accurate read on where the saddle heights are. So then what I do is I look here and I'm measuring from the top of the 12th fret to the bottom of the string. And I use a 6-inch ruler. So that one is at 4/64. And then this one, I'm reading from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. It's at like a high 4/64. So it's sitting on top of that line. So what I would do is I would pop this up a little bit. So I'm going to raise it up to 5. And that's at 5. So if you look at the gauge here, at the ruler, 64ths are on this side, 32nds are on this side. So when I'm looking here, top of the fret to the bottom of the string, I'm at 5/64 and 4/64. So that one is adjusted. And I know that I have a 12-inch radius on my saddles as well. So at this point, I can stop.